Good afternoon. Welcome to TNC Radio.live. This is the Truckers Network radio show. And now here's your host, Shelley Johnson.
Thank you, Tom. I appreciate that. Yes, this is the Truckers Network radio show on TNC Radio.live, where we offer the entertainment, sports, weather, traffic, news, and information our commercial drivers want to hear. Big rigs are the pride and joy of our drivers, especially when they're fully decked out in chrome, steel, and chicken lights. Drivers develop a serious fondness for their rigs, and they even name them. To have a custom drawing or a portrait of their rig is a terrific keepsake. Today we have an awesome artist who has mastered the art of capturing big rigs in all their glory. Miss Flatbed Red is a professional artist who studied at the University of Arts in London. She served as an apprentice to London-based portrait painter JHL Beattie. In 2016, she came back to the U.S. and married an avid historic truck lover. She started going to truck shows with him and won her first truck commission while drawing her very first semi at the Mid-America Truck Show. Flatbed Red was born. She attends truck shows and creates on-location drawings along with custom studio drawings of trucks, pets, and people. We're excited to have Miss Flatbed Red with us today. Hello, Red. Thank you for being with us.
Hi, thank you for having me, Shelley.
You know, you are an extremely talented lady. I've been looking at your website and all of your artwork. Plus, you're also a musician. You do it all. I'm super impressed, especially with all the realistic detail and the big rigs you draw. We want to learn more about you. You've had an interesting history, and it didn't begin with big rigs.
No, it didn't. Yeah, I had a difficult decision between art and music when it came time to go to college, and I ended up choosing music for the degree, but I did art all through college, and every artist wants to find their niche, right? So I thought, I guess I'll just draw portraits and pet portraits like every other artist. That's not much of a niche. And then, like you said, 2016 came about, and I went to a truck show and took a sketchbook, and that's where it all began.
How do you transition from doing portraits of people and pets to big rigs? I mean, it's a different technique, isn't it? Or
Yeah. So when it comes to portraits, people are really particular about, like, if you miss a little detail, it doesn't look like that person anymore. So you have to pay really close attention to all those little details. And the same thing, like you were saying, people take a lot of pride in their trucks. And if you miss one little detail, it sticks out. So you have to be really attentive and get to know all the different pieces and parts of the truck. So it's been a pretty steep learning curve for me, but now I own a truck too. So It was a slippery slope.
I heard you were going for your CDL.
Yeah, I've only been behind the wheel a couple times, but I already have done several hundred miles. So there's a guy down the road I did a painting for a couple years ago, and I called him up one day when I decided the law was changing at the beginning of February, and if I wanted to get the CDL, I better hustle. Got my permit, and now I'm trying to get that CDL taken care of, but I have to fit that around my art schedule. I'm booked out about 5 months in advance. I have a busy piano studio of 30 students, and I have a couple dance students even. So
wow.
Yeah, I like being busy, if you can't tell.
Yes. When do you sleep?
I take my time. I stretch out my work day across the whole week, or my work week is 7 days. It's not like I'm only in the studio Monday to Friday.
Sure.
So it works out well. I have a very understanding boss. I'll say that.
Well, when you're your own boss, that
right.
is always
she
helpful.
Lets me go to truck shows. It's great.
So what kind of big rig do you have, and what have been the challenges so far in learning how to drive it?
Oh my. Okay, so my truck is a 1980 352 Peterbilt. It's got a 20-foot box. Yeah, stainless box on the back. It came from a fleet, J.D. Hollingsworth fleet in South Carolina, which I've been trying to find photos of the fleet. So if anyone listening has photos of the Hollingsworth fleet, I would love to see them. Everyone tells me, I remember seeing those rigs on the road. They're all so well taken care of. And mine will eventually be converted into a little RV mobile studio set up.
Oh, will that be cool?
Yeah, it's going to have its debut at the ATHS convention in Springfield, Illinois in June. So everyone will get to see it for the first time there in June.
So who's doing the conversion for you? Is it your husband who's the...
Oh, that part's not. So the conversion is step 2. Step 1, it's getting a little facelift externally is all I'll say.
Okay.
And that will be debuted in June. But then once I financially recover from that, we can move on to the box. But
so does your husband drive too?
He works for a 3rd generation U.S. mail contractor up here in Northwest Ohio. And he mostly helps out in the office and all around all his boss's property, helps out with maintenance and dispatcher services, all the stuff that needs done in the office, basically. And then he drives when they need someone to go out on a road, on a run, if the driver's on vacation or whatever, extras. So today he's driving, but it changes every day. So it's always exciting.
Did you ever think that you'd be involved in the world of trucking when you were going?
Nope.
And can you blame your husband for this?
Yeah, totally. I will say my dad is a retired police officer, and when he retired, he went to work for a trucking company in my hometown that I think was also owned by a retired police officer. But he got his Class B and was driving box trucks, and so he can relate to what I'm going through and the whole process of getting the license. And and he was before he was a police officer, he was a firefighter. So there's like pictures of him driving fire trucks and stuff.
Oh, is that neat? So you're carrying on a tradition here. This is pretty
kind of,
cool.
sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how are you doing at backing up your Peterbilt?
So my own truck has spent most of the time I've had it in the shop or in winter storage.
Okay.
Not gonna lie. But I was out with this new friend who's helping me get my CDL last weekend, and he got out of the truck and said, "You're going to back the trailer up." I'm like, oh, he was very patient with me. It took a while. I got sort of close, but I've got a lot of work to do.
Practice, just like you've learned with piano and everything else.
Yes.
Like practice.
That is very true. There are a lot of similarities. Like when you think of my background, I've danced for a long time, and some of the things where you have to coordinate the clutch and shifting and turning and all of that, it's a lot. It's similar to dance and music, right?
Oh, well, I guess if you think about that in your mind, you might be able to. I'm not actually able to figure that out, but
speak your own language and maybe it'll all make sense.
What kind of dance?
So I grew up learning how to dance in like a little German dance hall in Northwest Ohio, but I teach couples their first dances for their weddings. It's a pretty fun way to pass the time and stay active.
Wow.
Yeah. So
you've got an amazing amount of energy.
Well, it's a nice outlet after, I mean, as an artist, I spend a lot of time, just like a truck driver, sitting by myself in my studio, not in the truck, obviously, but it's a nice way to get to speak to different people and move around a little bit. Nice change of pace.
Get the circulation going, because I would imagine, sitting there in front of a drawing board, if you will, or easel, you get a stiff back and everything else,
So my most recent drawing related dilemma, back in November, I was working on the drawing that's actually, I have a drawing featured in 10-4 magazine every month. And the one that's in it this month, I was working on it in November, and I was really focused. I was holding onto that pencil for dear life. And before I knew it, I had sat at my table for 8 hours without really taking a break. And my hand hurt a lot. Usually I try to take a break every 40 minutes or so, get up, walk around a little bit. And I had a massage the next day, and my massage therapist spent some time working on my hand, trying to make it not hurt so much. And then as the next few days went on, like, it felt good while she was working on it, but my finger has this mysterious lump. It turns out after 4 months, my finger finally snapped back into place. I was holding that pencil so tightly, I either dislocated my finger or like a tendon moved. Yeah, it was very
Ow.
exciting. So
Oh,
drawing
yeah.
related injuries exist.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they really can.
But the,
Absolutely. The tendonitis, all of that good
yeah,
stuff. Ugh.
but the
Wow.
drawing turned out really well. Everyone can see it in 10-4 magazine this month.
And it was painfully you took painstaking measures, right?
Exactly.
No
Yeah.
pun
I mean,
intended there.
right. And I was at a piano recital, stretching my hand a little bit, and snap, everything was fine immediately.
Mm.
No more
Ah,
pain.
ow,
Great.
ow, ow. Okay. Well, on that
Yeah.
note, we have to go to break. I want to learn more about you, all of your training. This is so exciting, Miss Red. We're talking with Miss Flatbed Red. She's famous for fantastic portraits of big rigs. You're listening to the Truckers Network radio show here on TNCRadio.live. Stay tuned for more coming up. TNCRadio.live is proud to carry the Steve Summers Overnight Drive Show. TNCRadio.live is dedicated to commercial drivers. We offer the news, traffic, and weather you need, and the entertainment, sports, talk, music, and celebrity interviews you want to hear 24/7. We have original shows and trucker podcasts that feature some of your favorites, like Ice Road Alex Debogorski and America's Truckin' Sweetheart Marcia Campbell. TNCRadio.live is convenient and designed for professional drivers. The best part is we're free, and you can listen anywhere you are on the road. With just one tap, you can tune into Steve Summers and us right on your phone. Simply download our app by going to app.tncradio.live. That's app.tncradio.live. Welcome back to the Truckers Network radio show on TNCRadio.live. I'm Shelley Johnson with Tom Kelly. We're talking with Miss Flatbed Red. She's famous for doing fantastic portraits of big rigs. Red, you are such a multi-talented artist, musician, and dancer, and even going for your CDL. And I bet our drivers didn't know you've also branched out into video and you designed your own website.
Yeah, it's never ending. I like learning, so I learned some web design in one of my jobs a couple years ago, and decided to build my own website for the artwork. And it was super helpful getting me into all the social media growth and knowing all those little tips and tricks. But I think the most recent thing is growing a YouTube channel that was sort of unexpected. Mm-hmm. And taking those and putting them over on TikTok too. Like, what the heck is happening? TikTok, really? Yeah. So like when I was at the Mid-America Truck Show a couple weeks ago, which hard to believe it's already been a couple weeks ago. Yeah. I think I did 25 interviews with drivers, videos and voiceovers. I'm still slogging my way through editing all those videos, but yeah, it's been a fun learning curve, and I really enjoy making those videos. It started with I'm a part of the American Truck Historical Society, so my main network was antique trucks, right. But more show trucks and things are up on the channel now, so that's a new thing for me to be learning about. But I really enjoy sharing those stories and videos with people who might not be able to go to as many shows.
That's a neat society. We've featured them on this show. I understand you're a lifetime member.
Yeah, I was out in Kansas. My husband's on the board of the ATHS, and we were out at Kansas City for the home office for the 50th anniversary last October. Mm-hmm. And I'd been thinking about it. I mean, I'm young enough that it's worthwhile to just get it all out of the way and have that lifetime membership. So I just went for it.
Good for you.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And I mean, it's fun to be a young person in an organization that is starting to look towards the future and help. Like, everyone thinks historical society, it's only about old trucks, but like people that are drivers now are part of the future history of trucking.
Oh,
if that
absolutely.
Makes sense.
Sure.
Yeah, so it's fun to be part of it and see what all's happening and watch it grow.
Do you have a favorite era of trucks?
That's a good question. Let's see. I don't know if I can answer that very quickly. I would have to think on that. I have drawn so many W900A Kenworths
Mm-hmm.
that I really appreciate the lines and angles of A models. But
Mm-hmm.
I have a Peterbilt cab over, and my husband has a 1987 Marmon conventional.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I can't pick a favorite.
Well, trucks do have character
They
and
do.
and personality, and drivers will tell you that too.
Oh, definitely. So, I mean, coming from a background as a portrait artist, I mean, you have to show people's personalities in portraits and pets' personalities. People tell you, oh, this is its favorite toy, put that in the painting.
Sure.
So, yeah, so when it comes to trucks, I have done a couple drawings where like, what do you think? Do you want me to add this missing handle? Do you want me to remove this dent? No, 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 keep it all there. It's part of the character of the truck.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I make sure that I do what people want, show that character.
Do you ever interview the owner and ask them the personality of the truck? Because all of them have that.
I have never asked that question, but that might be a fun one.
You know,
Thank you.
because some of them kind of growl and do this and do that and have their own little noises and, you know.
Yeah, I will say while we were at Matt's, we walked past the Caterpillar booth, and my husband's Marmon has a cat engine in it,
Mm-hmm.
and they were doing interviews. So he did one of these interviews for Caterpillar, asking all about his truck and the engine. The last question was, what does your engine sound like? And obviously, you know, they want him to make the sound effect,
Oh, sure.
but he
Yeah.
wimped out and didn't do it. It sounds powerful.
Oh, funny. So, what does your Peterbilt sound like?
Oh, you're trying to trick me. No, it has a 6B92 Detroit, so
Uh-huh.
it sounds wonderful. You hear it coming, even though
Mm-hmm.
it's just this little box truck.
Mm-hmm. It announces itself before it arrives.
Oh, it does. You can hear it down the road.
Uh-huh. That's a good thing. Well,
It
that's
is.
terrific. What did you enjoy about Mid-America this year?
Oh man. So each year this was my fifth time there, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that. Um, and this year I didn't take my sketchbook. So this year I was a media partner with the show, and my goal was to just accumulate a whole bunch of photos and videos for my YouTube and Instagram and all that. But it was really cool to just finally get to talk to people that like you communicate with online, people who say I'd love to meet you, and finally getting to meet people in person. This was the first really big show
Mm-hmm.
since before 2020, right?
Yeah.
So I just really enjoyed getting to see all my friends again. That's the best
Oh,
part
yeah.
of truck shows is the people, really. The
Everybody
trucks
felt
are
that
all
way.
right. Yeah.
You know, everything was so weird for 2 years, you know, and
Hmm.
you can do it virtually, but after a while, not so much. Actually
Yeah.
getting to talk to people in person is what's really needed, you know?
Right. It was just it was a great time to reconnect with people, and I really appreciated that a lot. So yeah, that part, the people.
So you're booked for 5 months. Are you doing all big rigs?
I just finished a portrait, which is for someone I did a truck drawing for relatively recently. Can't really say more than that. It's a gift, a surprise for someone.
Sure.
But I still occasionally do some portraits, but the majority of my work is trucks. I do about 50 drawings a year, which, given they take quite a few hours per drawing, one a week is plenty right now, keeping me busy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I mean, like I said, you got to give yourself a break occasionally. It's just holding a pencil, some people may say, but it's a lot of strain on your eyes, and it's a lot of hunched over
Oh,
working
yeah.
on the table. So yep, I try to keep it to about one a week or so. Bigger ones obviously take longer, and I have a couple very big projects coming up. I designed the 2023 ATHS convention poster for Reno next year. That was pretty sweet.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see that. Obviously, we have to let Springfield come about first here in June, but I can't wait to see that poster printed out and actually, it's just very exciting. That's probably one of my biggest projects It's very cool to be asked to do that by the ATHS.
Very neat. Now, what mediums do you work in? A colored pencil, a regular pencil, pastel? Is it a variety of things or?
Yeah, so most of what I do is colored pencil and graphite, just black and white pencil. And then I also do some acrylic paintings and then like these watercolor markers too, which are pretty neat. Sort of like like an illustration type of look is how I like to think of them, a little bit looser than the colored pencil, but still really detailed. And even the little drawings I do are really detailed. It's I really pride myself in making sure I don't miss out on the important stuff. I ask for more photos if I can't make out the lettering, and make sure that I get whatever you want on that drawing in that drawing. What I see in the photo is what you get on your drawing. So I used to do oil paintings, but it's just a little too time consuming and space consuming. So I've moved away from oil paintings, but I also do digital renderings and things now. So if people want to see their truck with a new look, if they're thinking of painting it or adding chrome or taking off a stack, adding a stack, changing out visors, any of that, I can do all of that digitally now. So I'm trying to branch into that, use my iPad for some stuff and not have to rely on being at the studio all the time.
So you're actually doing the designs. It's not the program. You just go in there and kind of tweak things, or?
Yeah, I do it all by hand on my iPad.
How very cool.
Yeah.
You gotta love technology.
Yeah, it's a fun change of pace and lets me sit up a little bit more. It's fun. Yeah.
And I would imagine drivers get a lot of insight.
Oh, yeah. So rather than just diving in and paying the body shop to do this stuff you're not so sure about, that's a big commitment. So I save them some money if they decide, oh, yeah, that looks terrible. Or wait, can you change this too? It saves them time and money. It's great. And it's fun.
I love how innovative you are. This is terrific. We have to go to break here. We want to learn more. We're talking with Miss Flatbed Red. She's a professional artist who specializes in big rigs and people and pets, you name it. She can draw it. She can create it. You're listening to the Truckers Network radio show on tncradio.live. Stay tuned for more coming up. Great leaders challenge their people not to stop at the first right answer. Tighten the Lug Nuts is the book that will help you move past that first right answer to be more effective, more productive, and more successful. This book serves as a blueprint that can be easily applied by leaders, entrepreneurs, truckers, owner-operators, all of us in our everyday lives. This is one of the best leadership books you can read to help you accelerate towards your personal and professional goals. Plus, a portion of the proceeds will be donated to truckerschristmasgroup.org. Visit tightenthelugnuts.com to order your copy today. Welcome back to the Truckers Network radio show here on tncradio.live. I'm Shelley Johnson with Tom Kelly, and we're talking with Miss Flatbed Red. She's a professional artist who specializes in big rigs, among other things. She's just so versatile. It's amazing. Red, I wanted to talk a little bit about your initial training in art. You went over to London, studied at the University of Arts, and you were an apprentice to London-based portrait painter JHL Beattie. All of this is so very exciting. What did you actually specialize in at that time?
So I had finished my music degree in Ohio, and I spent a year working before I moved over there. And then the program I did at the University of the Arts is like a pre-bachelor's degree. And you can sort of choose your specialty after the first couple weeks. And I decided to pick drawing. So I still did a lot of photography with the drawing specialty. So I did a lot of things, but I was trying to find a way to combine music and art at the time. And I had a lot of connections with the London Symphony Orchestra. So I was drawing in concert programs, actually, like drawing from life at concerts. It was pretty interesting.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah. But a few years before I moved there, I was over on a fellowship from my university to shadow the London Symphony Orchestra. I had this big plan of being an orchestral conductor. How things change.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And while I was there, I met some folks, including a concert pianist named Carl, who introduced me to, or he called me one day, the day I landed in 2012 when I moved over there. he said, "My friend Hugh needs an apprentice. Call him now." So I called Hugh and I became his apprentice. I was mixing oil paints and stretching canvases, sending out invitations for gallery shows. It was pretty exciting while studying and doing all sorts of stuff. But yeah, he was a portrait painter, so I was learning different techniques it's all versatile. I could have continued to use that in truck painting, but like I mentioned, oil painting's just a little bit not conducive to my current studio setup. And
Sure.
so I don't do oil paintings, but I really appreciated what I learned while I was over there. And then I stuck on in London for a couple more years. I did a master's program in music education, but all the time I was drawing. I did a portrait painting to enter in a show over there. It didn't get in, but I did it, so that was exciting. And then eventually I had never even really paid attention to trucks in the UK, but now since all of this has happened and I've gone back, it's really interesting to see how different they are, what I like there compared to what I like here, what stands out. It's just interesting.
Now, do you as an artist, I'm sorry, Tom, were you going to ask a question?
I was just going to say, I didn't think they had trucks in the UK.
Oh yeah, lorries, sorry.
They are lorries. That's right.
That's how different they are. They don't even have trucks there. So.
Exactly.
Now, Red, I remember as a child, I would look at vehicles and I'd see personalities. A vehicle would smile at me or frown at me, that kind of thing. Do you see that kind of stuff when you?
Oh
when you're
yeah,
drawing? Yeah.
I thought of doing like a series of photos back when I was at University of the Arts, London, to do like a series of artwork. I didn't know what it was going to be. Drawings, photos of the grills of cars. Like you
Yeah.
can see their eyes and their mouths.
Oh, you really can. Oh, yeah. So I'm not the only one that.
No,
No,
no.
yeah.
Yeah, it's not just you. That might just be you and me, but it's not just you.
I'm going to say, what?
I remember getting so bummed when, my dad sold one of my mom's cars. It smiled at me in the front and frowned at me in the back, and I was really sad when it got sold because it was my friend.
It drove away frowning at you.
Yes. My sister thought I was nuts. But anyway, I've always
That's
been
just
a little
between you and
different.
me.
Huh?
Said it's just between you and me. Oh yeah, people are listening, aren't they?
Well, at least I'm not alone on that. Now, you're a musician. What did you study in terms of instruments and styles of music?
Yeah, so my primary instrument was trumpet when I was in college, but I also played piano because I can't just do one thing. We have heard that, if nothing else. So my primary instrument was trumpet all through college. I was a music education major, so lots of time spent learning all of the instruments, basically. You have to be able to teach every standard band and orchestra instrument to like the end of a first year student's skill level. So
Wow.
I had to learn all of them, but if I could play them now, probably not. But yeah, I also played piano for the different ensembles, accompanied some other students for recitals and juries and things. And I sang in a church choir for 4 years. And so since then, I took my trumpet with me to the UK and played for some groups over there. I sang in a church choir over there. I got to play at the Royal Albert Hall, which was pretty sweet.
Oh, that is neat.
Yeah, like all the major London venues. I either played with an orchestra or sang in with a choir in the time I was there. And it's just sort of mind-blowing to think back on all of that.
How exhilarating. What a great experience.
Oh yeah, it's amazing. So I was actually at a career day for an art school up near me here in Ohio a couple days ago. And one of the questions I was asked, or that we were asked to answer, was, do you need a higher education degree to do what you do? Like, no, but the opportunities that I was given while I was a college student, like either here or there, were what got me to the point I am now. Even though I was a music student, had I not met all those people along the way, it wouldn't have led me back to where I am here in my hometown, which some people might, oh, you went back home? Like, but I came here willingly, sort of. And now I'm here willingly. And it led me to this whole new world that I absolutely love. Trucking and truckers and people who like trucks are so welcoming. Going to a truck show, just walk up to someone and they're happy to talk to you. It's such a cool world to be part of. Like that first drawing experience I had back in 2017 at Matt's, I was just sitting there by myself drawing, and someone came up and spoke to me. Would you draw my truck if I paid you? Yes, I will. And now, like, we go up to see their Christmas lights up in Michigan, and
Oh, how cool is that?
yeah, it's awesome. It's a great way
Mhm.
to network.
Oh, absolutely. And drivers, they tell great stories, don't they? They love to tell stories.
Oh yeah, I mean, part of what I want to do to expand my YouTube channel is a few more just sitting down with drivers and letting them tell me stories. Just,
Mhm.
I'll have the camera going, just talk to me. If anyone has stories they want to share, I would be happy to talk with you.
That's terrific. I just love
Yeah.
how you've evolved. I mean, you
I'm
really, yeah.
I'm flexible. Just I like going with the flow.
Not everybody can just switch hit like that. That's really, it's a major talent just to do that.
Thank you.
I think it's terrific. So, what are some of your goals, Red? You've done so many things already. Where did you want to branch out? What are your
Oh,
dreams in
wow.
terms of what you're doing?
Well, I will say right now, this is a good problem to have, if you can call it that. I have a pretty long wait list right now, of about, well, 5 months, a couple dozen drawings to work on. But I wrote a children's book a couple years ago, and I haven't had an opportunity to sit down and illustrate it because of all the other projects I've been working on.
Hmm.
So a big goal for me is to get the rest of that illustrated and do something with it. I think that would be an awesome thing, and I want to make sure that it gets out there when it's still relevant. Yes, it's about trucks.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, so I want to get that put together and get that ball rolling here soon. My studio, I live in Findlay, Ohio, and my studio is right next to the university there, where the Mazza Museum is it's the biggest collection of children's book illustrations in the world.
Oh, wow.
And it's right down the street from my studio. So it's pretty cool to have something inspirational like that within walking distance. But
So you
now I
can,
just need to sit down and do it.
so you can kind of go there and do some research if you needed to.
Yes, I could.
Hmm.
Yes, it's pretty neat.
Yeah. Or just get inspired.
Yeah,
That's
that's the thing. I was telling people that the other day at that career day also. The thing is how cool it is to learn from other people just by
yep.
looking at their artwork.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, it's really inspirational. So going to a truck show inspires you. Going to an art gallery can inspire you. Yeah.
There's so much to learn in life. That's what makes it so wonderful. We have to go to break here. We want to learn some more here. We're having a great conversation with Miss Flatbed Red. She's a professional artist, and she specializes in some fantastic artwork of big rigs. Stay tuned for more right here on TNCRadio.live and the Truckers Network Radio Show. The trucking industry keeps America running thanks to the 3.36 million professional truck drivers who deliver everyday goods to 80% of American communities who rely on trucking for that last mile. The industry represents a diverse group with nearly half of drivers at 42% as minorities. Trucking Moves America Forward, or TMAF, educates the public on the essentiality of trucking by telling the story of trucking and its positive impact on our economy, communities, and lives. Learn how you can join the industry movement by visiting truckingmovesamerica.com. Welcome back to the Truckers Network Radio Show on TNCRadio.live. I'm Shelley Johnson with Tom Kelly, and we're talking with Miss Flatbed Red. She's famous for doing fantastic portraits of big rigs. You've got to check out her artwork. It's fantastic. Tom, you said you had a question for Miss Red.
Well, you know me, Shelley. I'm always interested in the process behind the process. So, how do you actually go about doing this, Red? Do you go out to, you sit at a truck stop and start drawing, or how do you actually go about the process of deciding what to draw, and how do you go about doing that?
Yeah, so the whole way this started was I literally just picked a truck and started drawing it. Before I even finished it, I was asked to draw another one. So that was my plan for the first over a year, basically. When I would go to a truck show, if I didn't already have someone lined up, I would just pick a truck and start drawing it. Usually someone I would know, so I could just, hey, here's the drawing of your truck. But and then from there, people would walk up as they saw what I was doing and have me do theirs. And by the end of that first drawing, I was all booked up for the rest of the show. So as a redhead, not really conducive to sitting in the sun. So I have been trying to do less on location drawings like that, drawing from life. So now I am almost exclusively just drawing from photos. So people can go to my website, www.missflatbed.red, not .com, .red.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, so there's a whole chart of all the options of sizes and prices there for all the different mediums and things. And you just send me one clear photo and I work from that photo. I've worked from some pretty not clear photos, like incomplete Polaroids and scans of awful photos, but I can make it work. I just need other reference photos. And between my husband and I, we have a bajillion photos of trucks.
Okay, so you can go back and see what the truck should look like based on maybe better photos and
yes, exactly. But yeah, it's just one photo is all I need, and what you see in your photo is how your artwork's gonna look. So if I can't make out what the words say, I sure hope you know what it says. Otherwise it's just gonna not be there, or I'll make it up.
You know what I love about your artwork? It's got such great perspective. Do you do maybe a rendering technique? How do you do all of that?
So I have, even people who say they're self-taught, you always learn from observation. But I took every art class I could all through school, from elementary school on, and it's all down to technique and observation. There are tons of different techniques of getting perspective correct, tons of tools to help you. So find something that works for you and then just practice a whole bunch. I have, if you look back, I think there's still an album on my website in the gallery there of some of my early drawings, and it was rough. I didn't know what materials to use. I used like a business card as a straight edge. Things have developed a lot over time. But the two words I say to everyone who's learning, like practice and patience, and you will improve. Just be really patient with yourself. I've drawn for over 20 years, which is crazy. But I mean, I started drawing portraits in middle school. So it's just down to a whole bunch of patience with yourself, and don't rush things. And the materials you use, quality definitely matters. So don't be cheap on the supplies you use.
Oh, it makes a huge difference. When you first were doing this, did you kind of get frustrated and wad up pieces of paper and throw them across the room? Because I've been known to do that.
I think I've only stopped and restarted one drawing.
Oh, that's really excellent.
Because there's just no time. You have to figure. I have never disclosed which drawing it was, but I spilled water across a watercolor painting once, and it was white. The subject, the truck, was white, and I had to fix it because there was no time to redo the entire thing.
Oh, wow.
They can take, like, in the past, the location drawings I would try to complete in 2 hours.
Right.
The quick ones, but now I don't do those so much. So it can be 10 to 80 hours for one drawing, depending on how big it is. And there's not time for do-overs.
No, it wouldn't be. No.
So you have to figure out ways to problem solve.
Sure.
And techniques to avoid making those mistakes. And that's, like I said, a learning curve. It doesn't happen overnight.
Well, I think that's what makes you so amazing. You're able to take all of this, go in different directions, and figure out how to do it, and do it really, really well.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah.
And it sounds like even though you do a lot of things, you've got a lot of patience. That's a virtue I still need to work on. But
that's the other words. Yes. Practice and patience. And I think When I was in college learning to be a music teacher, I was not as patient as I have become as an actual music teacher.
Okay, yeah.
So, I mean, I sit there and I help little kids learn how to play piano part of my week. So it's a lot of repetition, saying the same thing a lot,
Hmm.
and figuring out the right ways to say something to make the right result come about. And
Right.
that's sort of how art is. You're just not usually talking out loud.
Right. Although I'm known to talk to myself. It's amazing. I've been accused of having a talking computer. It's like, is your computer voice activated? Because you're certainly doing a lot of talking here. I'm amazed at everything you do. I think I've said that
Yeah.
a few times here, but your versatility is just fantastic. So people can just send in a photo,
Yep.
get a hold of you via your website, and do they kind of give you an idea of what they're looking for? Maybe they want something that's a little more creative than what the photo looks like. I mean, is the sky kind of the limit as to what you can do?
I don't do like sometimes people want little cartoon sort of
Caricature,
sketches,
yeah.
logo. I
Hmm.
don't do those. I am a
Okay,
realist.
okay.
My work is realism. I can change backgrounds. I can put a truck from one photo in with a truck from another photo. I can take people out. I can change stuff if you need me to, but I don't do caricatures. Um, so I can I can work with you to some extent, but generally, whatever you provide to me as a reference photo is what you're going to end up getting as a result.
Okay.
So, but yeah, they can go to my website, missflatbed.red. Basically, Miss Flatbed Red across all social media. That's my email address, all sorts. I'm on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. So it's not difficult to find me and get in touch.
Which is excellent. Before we go, we have about 3 minutes. What are some of your favorite big rigs to draw? Do you have a favorite yet?
Well, when my husband still had his K100, that was the first like really big project that I tried to do. I drew his cab over while sitting in our driveway, but I tried to make it realistic rather than the quick sketches that I did at the time mostly.
Hmm.
And so from there on, that was that was also summer of 2018, I think. I felt like I drew dozens of K100s that year and the year after, and a whole bunch of A model Kenworths also. So those are what I have done the most of. So I feel like I'm really familiar with them.
Hmm.
And, but I mean, I've drawn a lot of different trucks, so I'm happy to draw anything.
Of course, drivers have their favorites. Some like Kenny Whoppers, some like the Peterbilts, freight shakers. It depends on their preference. So,
Mm-hmm. I will say those little square grills on the fronts of Freightliners are
mm.
really frustrating to draw, and they try my patience. I hate drawing grills in general. Grills are the worst part to draw, and I always
Interesting.
save it for last, and I don't know why. Like, do it first, get it out of the way. But
Because you
yeah.
dread it. Yeah. Yeah. I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah, you just sort of go cross-eyed while you're working on them usually.
Oh, the detail. And I would think so. I mean, there's so much detail. Everything you're doing is so very intricate.
Yeah, I will say that I have a little 6-inch clear flexible ruler, and that is probably one of my most important tools on the table at any
Hmm.
given point. Lots of straight lines. Some guy on TikTok was like, "Oh, she's not a real artist if she uses a ruler." I'm like, "Sorry, my customers like accuracy."
Yeah. Even the best artist needs a little guidance here.
And I mean,
Absolutely.
I could do everything from life, but it's going to take even longer, and you're going to have to pay for it. So I
There you
have found
go.
a way to work efficiently and hopefully turn things around as quickly as I can and give you quality. So there we go.
That sounds terrific. Well, Miss Flatbed Red, this has been a treat talking to you. If you want to tell the listeners again where they can find you, what's your website again?
www.missflatbed.red, and I'm on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and Facebook.
Thank you so much for being on the Truckers Network radio show. I thoroughly enjoyed chatting with you. You've been listening to TNC Radio Live. Thank you for listening to another great interview on TNCRadio.live and the Truckers Network Radio Show. All of the material you hear on TNCRadio.live, on our website, our broadcasts, or our podcasts are copyrighted. There can be no distribution without the express consent of TNCRadio.live and its partners. For inquiries, write us at info@tncradio.live.